I want you to think about the last time you went to the airport. You walked up to that check-in counter, and before your suitcase could get on that plane, the government required proof of your identity. History, economics, science all lead to common sense solutions for America's issues and problems today. Don't just take what I say for granted. Analyze it, what we know from history, what we know about economics, what we know about science, and what your common sense tells you is right. Only 12 states have laws pending or on the books requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote. Hi, I'm Bruce Rutherford. I'm the guy who founded and created Common Sense for America. I'm an American patriot, or at least I like to call myself a patriot, who believes that history, economics, science all lead to common sense solutions for America's issues and problems today. And I try to use all of those things to call these possible solutions, which I think are very probable, call these solutions to your attention to get you thinking about them, talking about them with your colleagues, with your family. I want you to make up your own mind. Don't just take what I say for granted. Analyze it, what we know from history, what we know about economics, what we know about science, and what your common sense tells you is right. I want you to think about the last time you went to the airport. You walked up to that check-in counter, and before your suitcase could get on that plane, the government required proof of your identity. Proof of your identity for your bag. Then you could walk a few blocks to your polling place. In 14 states and in the District of Columbia, you can walk in and vote, and nobody asks you for a single thing. No proof of anything. In 12 states, you can provide identification with no photo, and it may be as weak as an old bank statement or a library card. Only 12 states have laws pending or on the books requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote or to vote at the polling place. I said that out loud once at a dinner party, and people looked at me like I had two heads. But let me ask you something. If we trust the integrity of our suitcase more than the integrity of our elections, what does that say about us? The Save America Act just passed in the House. It says if you want to vote in a federal election, prove you're an American citizen. Simple, obvious, and somehow controversial. Today I'm going to tell you what this bill does, why the opposition deserves a fair hearing, and why common sense comes down firmly on one side. Welcome, patriots, to this edition of Common Sense for America. I'm Bruce Rutherford, your host and commentator, coming to you from the beautiful Westwood Golf Club in Houston, Texas. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that like button and subscribe. Now let's dive into the issue. Here's what the Save America Act does. It amends the National Voter Registration Act to require documentary proof of citizenship when you register to vote for a federal election. A passport, a birth certificate, proof that you're an American citizen. Now, it passed the House in February, and now the battle moves on to the Senate. The people who oppose the bill are not wrong about everything. Their argument is this: non-citizen voting is already illegal and already rare. So why create a new burden that might trip up legitimate citizens who cannot easily access a birth certificate or afford a passport? That's a fair concern, and I want you to hear it and understand it. But here's the problem with that argument. It stops at the inconvenience. It never asks the bigger question: does a rule that cannot be verified actually protect anyone? James Madison, the father of our Constitution, wrote in Federalist Paper number 52 that the right of suffrage is a fundamental article of Republican government. We have a Republican government. It is fundamental. It's not casual. It's not informal. It is fundamental. A republic rises or falls on the integrity of its elections. A rule that cannot be verified is not a rule at all. It's a suggestion. And we do not run republics on suggestions. Let me tell you what happened when we made voter registration easier without making it more secure. The Motor Voter Law of 1993 allowed people to register at government agencies, the DMV, public assistance offices, agencies that serve non-citizens, every single day. The question on the form says, are you a citizen? You check the box. No proof required. Perjury on that form is almost never prosecuted. We built an honor system for the most important civic act in democracy. Does that make any sense to you? Here is what happens when election trust breaks down. People stop believing their vote counts. They stop showing up. The republic hollows out from within, from the inside. Tens of millions of Americans, regardless of party, say they do not believe our elections are fully secure. This is not a political problem. This is a constitutional crisis. We have seen proof of citizenship work. Arizona passed Proposition 200 in the year 2004, requiring proof of citizenship for voter registration. Requiring proof did not suppress legitimate voters. It strengthened confidence in the process. And here is something the opposition never mentions. France, Germany, Australia, and most major democracies require identity verification to vote. The United States of America is the outlier. Now think about that. Now some of you are thinking, what about people who genuinely cannot access documents? That is the strongest criticism of this bill, and it's fair. Congress passed a proof of requirement with no funding to help states implement that law. It is a broken implementation. The critics are right about that, but that is an argument for fixing the implementation, not for abandoning the principle. Those are two very different things. We require proof to buy cold medicine at the pharmacy, proof to board a plane, proof to open a bank account, proof to buy liquor, cigarettes, and somehow the vote that determines who leads the most powerful nation on earth was running on the honor system. Thomas Paine said the cause of America is the cause of all mankind. That experiment only works if the people running it are actually the people themselves, citizens of the United States. Pass the Save America Act. We need to pass it in the Senate, but pass it right. Fund the implementation so that every eligible American citizen, regardless of income or circumstance, can obtain the documentation they need to exercise their right to vote. A birth certificate assistance program. Free voter ID for those who cannot afford it. Outreach to communities where documentation is the hardest to access, like rural Alaska. The principle and the access are not in conflict. They are both requirements of a functioning republic. Honor both. Tell me in our comments section, do you think proving citizenship to vote is common sense, or does it create too high a barrier? I want to hear from you. Until then, may God bless you and yours, and God bless America.